Now let's do another problem with dividing fractions. This one says, I have a piece of ribbon that is 3 feet long. I want to divide it into 3/4 foot pieces. How many pieces will I have? And I'm going to write down my total number of groups and number in each group. If you want to stop and write the problem down, if you're taking notes, you may stop the video now. Okay, let's look at this again. Remember that a lot of times it's good to read the problem more than once. I have a piece of ribbon that is 3 feet long. I want to divide it into 3/4 foot pieces. How many pieces will I have? Now, down here on our last problem, we did the 4 steps of problem solving. Understand the problem, what's the question, what information do I know? So the question is, how many pieces will I have? Now, what other information do we already know? We know that the starting piece of ribbon is 3 feet. Now, I want to make sure I include those units because I want the units in my answer. So that's the whole amount. I have 3 feet. That's my total. All right, now it says I want to divide it into 3/4 foot pieces. That's hard to say, isn't it? 3/4 foot pieces. This time, how many pieces I'm going to have, I'm trying to figure out how many groups I'm going to have. How many groups with 3/4 in each one? So this is 3/4 feet. Now I want you to look at this problem and the last problem we did. In both of these, we start with the total amount. It gives us the total amount. In this one down here, it gave us the number of groups and we had to find the number in each group. In this one up here, we are finding the number of groups. It gave us the number in each group. Now, something I've told you before, if you get mixed up and you're not sure, you know it's either number of groups or number in each group, and but you can't tell which of those is which, it really won't affect your problem. The thing that will affect your problem is knowing this total. The total's really important because if we know the total and have to divide it into groups, it's a division problem. But if we don't know the total, if we have to find the total and we know these two, whichever way they go, that would be a multiplication problem. So it's really important that you can tell which one's the total and then that you have these other two parts. So my problem here, I've already said what information I have and I've said what the problem is, so I understand the problem. I'm going to plan. I'll look for keywords. It's going to be divided into pieces. Of course, that tells us we're going to divide. So now I'm going to take my total divided by 3/4. Of course, I'd make this into an improper fraction. And you remember your song, multiply by the reciprocal. So 3 times the reciprocal. Don't get mixed up. You don't do the reciprocal of the first number. You multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, so this, we can cancel out these 3's and we get 4. So the number of groups is 4 groups. Now, I'm not through yet. I've solved it. I have an answer, but I have to check. Did I answer the question? Did I tell how many pieces I have? Yes, I've got 4 pieces. Sometimes the question might say, how many pieces do I have? Or it might say, how much will it cost if each piece is $3? Then when I find out how many pieces I have, I wouldn't be through with the problem. I'd have another step to do. So that's why you always check to see, did I actually answer the question? Now we want to see if it makes sense. Okay, if I have 4 groups, there were 3 feet, and each group is going to be less than a foot, close to a foot, but not quite. So that means that I'm going to have more than 3 groups, aren't I? Because each one's a little bit less than 3. 4 makes sense. I could also check it by multiplying. This was equal to 4. So I could multiply the number of groups times the number in each group, and that gives me 3. So yes, my answer of 4 makes sense.